All right, let's hear this. The prophecy.
Always tell you who the best team is in the world. The international event doesn't always tell you who the best team is in the world, actually, because it's a short tournament over the course of one.
It was a double elimination, 15 best of 5 tournament.
Small patch, which wildly is different from the patch that you played on to get to the tournament. And while I think we do have, because we have no other metrics, we do kind of have.
Bro, what were they playing at MSI? They're playing like Ari, Annie. People are still playing the same junglers, Vi, Wukong, Maokai, Cassandra. The people were playing the tank tops, Cassante. Like what? It was the same meta, pretty much. The only thing that was different was that you get like some Aphelios and Jinx as opposed to the 80s that they were playing before.
Read that like said team wins, and which wildly is different from.
I gotta list it again.
And this is like maybe my craziest take of the episode, but the international event doesn't always tell you who the best team is in the world, actually, because it's a short tournament over the course of one small patch, which wildly is different from the patch that you played on.
It's one, yeah, I mean, it was one small patch. I know what he means. He's like, oh, like one patch is small in the grand scheme of things, but it was a pretty small patch for MSI when you consider all things.
To get to the
it wasn't drastically different.
And while I think we do have,
it wasn't like MSI 2021 where you went from like Udi or Hecarim every single game to Rumble, Morgana, Diana, like all these types of champions. It wasn't that.
Because we have no other metrics, we do kind of have to agree that like said team wins the international event, beats all the other teams around the world. Like we have to say they're the best team in the world, generally speaking. But like from a factual, like 100, are we 100% sure? Like was DRX the best team in the world? They won worlds, but like, you know,
DRX win is significantly more fraudulent than JDG's win because it wasn't double elimination. Like the fact that this had the best format of all time of an international tournament ever means that the results and the rankings are more accurate than they were before. Before it was you could win. DRX had 3 best of 5s to win. Now you need at least 4, and that's coming from the winners bracket.
I sometimes think international events can give you a warped perception of who the best team really is because it's on one small patch.
Look at Monty. He's like, well, this is painful.
With not a lot of prep time compared to a regular season league.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem is that when you are testing for two different things, which you do in League of Legends, right? Which is that, you know, a lot of the results are based off of a long regular season with double round robins. I mean, that's just how it is. Or in LPL's case, like single round robins. Okay, whatever, guys. You understand what I mean. Long round robin seasons outside of LEC right now. And that's the thing that you're testing for is kind of this consistency week in, week out, lots of time to prepare on the patch.
JDG was pretty consistent, right? Like, I mean, JDG for a new super team with a language barrier to start the season, they went 13-3 in best of 3s. One of the ones that they lost was to OMG, and OMG got extremely lucky. I'm the biggest OMG fan. OMG got extremely lucky with Ruler's crit RNG in one of the games. And that's why they ended up winning that game 3. So like JDG, they didn't drop one best of 5 so far the entire year. They won LPL from adding 2 new players into the roster with language barrier. They did well on the regular split. Like, how can they not be considered the best team in the world? Especially when BLG also beat the LCK. It wasn't like JDG won like 2 really close best of 5s, and that's how they ended up winning. Like, the LCK teams got their asses beat by fucking BLG, bro. Like, BLG looked a level above. It was 6-1. It wasn't that close. Like, if you looked at the T1 series, it felt like T1 was going to lose the whole time in that BLG series. It looked like BLG was just significantly better.
Lots of matches on any given patch. And then you throw the teams into a tournament, which is, I mean, basically...
What's happening here? We're ready in draft? All right, well, I kind of want to hear
the entirely a bracket for the top teams because they're not participating in the play-ins, right? Then there's very little time to adjust. And you're testing for something different at that point in time. And that doesn't mean that the same teams won't win. I mean, JDG won LPL, and then JDG also won an MSI, and we know JDG is a spectacularly talented team.
And they were the best team in regular season.
Counter-Strike circuit where you have a series, for the most part, a series of tournaments that are all taking place in approximately the same time frame, just in different locations with slight iterations on the format, but it's basically the same thing. And also Counter-Strike has a lot less patching, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to play to win LCK. You have to win on 5 patches, basically. Like you will play through because a patch comes out every 2 weeks. You play through 9 weeks.
No, because you don't need to be the best in the do you know how the format works, Wolf? You don't need to be the best team in the regular season. You don't need to be the best team on every patch. You just have to be the best team on the playoffs patch. The same way to win MSI, you have to be the best team on the MSI patch. Like what? I don't know. This is like some weird backwards argument. It's like, well, winning LCK is harder because you got to win on 5 patches. Like, dude, Gen G was not the best. If you looked at LCK, T1 was the best team on every single patch except for the playoffs patch. Like, the playoffs patch was the only patch where Gen G actually won. So, what does this take? Like, what does this even mean? I'm watching you hating on people. I'm not even hating on him. It's just literally incorrect what he's saying. Like, it is just, it's not like you win LCK by winning, like, oh, you have to, like, be the best team on patch number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, like, the team that's the best on the, or, like, averages the best performance across the 5 patches is the team that wins. Like, you could be literally worse on every patch except for the playoffs patch and win LCK. So it's like, it's not even an argument.